Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ceci, Alberta's NDP Municipal Affairs Critic, and I'm joined today by our Advanced Education Critic, David Eggen. I want to acknowledge that we are gathered today on the traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. Calgary has been through a lot over the past several years, from an oil price collapse to a pandemic that drove energy prices even further down into negative territory. The city has been hit really hard. As a result, we saw downtown office vacancy rates hit levels not seen since the Great Depression. And despite seeing our economy starting to recover from the pandemic, vacancy rates still hover around 30%, the highest in the country. That's why the Alberta NDP began consulting on a plan to revitalize and bring new energy to downtown Calgary. This past April, we presented a multi-pronged approach to restore vibrancy to the city's core that focuses on supporting the City of Calgary's downtown plan, as well as support for small businesses, events and festivals, and transit. In addition, we proposed building more affordable housing units downtown and more support for mental health and addictions. Our plan focused on economic diversification and the creation of an innovation district. These innovation districts bring post-secondaries, entrepreneurs, startups, business incubators, and accelerators together to facilitate collaboration and innovation. Calgary already has many of the elements to create an innovation district. However, one key piece that is missing is the lack of post-secondary institutions. That's why today, David and I have sent a letter to the presidents of post-secondary institutions in Calgary, Olds, and Lethbridge confirming that we intend to proceed with the establishment of a new post-secondary campus right here in downtown Calgary. And our letter requested that they develop and submit formal proposals for a downtown campus where young Albertans, our future leaders, can live, learn, and work. You know, this is not a typical move for an official opposition, I grant you, but this work is too important not to start today. Should we form the next government, we intend to hit the ground running on a new campus. After releasing our plan for the downtown revitalization last April, we consulted broadly and found overwhelming support for this campus, which is what led us to this commitment today. Calgary Economic Development recently released a report supporting the development of an innovation district in downtown Calgary, citing it as their #1 proposal on how to support innovation and diversify the economy of Alberta. The Calgary Chamber of Commerce also released a paper recently calling for a larger post-secondary presence in downtown Calgary in order to better attract and retain skilled workers. And in its latest budget, the City of Calgary approved $9 million to support the expansion of post-secondaries to the downtown. My message to all those post-secondaries and all Calgarians is that you have a willing partner in Alberta's NDP. And for more of the benefits of what a school in the downtown will bring us, I want to now turn things over to David. David?
Well, thank you, Joe. And it's so great here to be in Calgary and today for this important commitment by our NDP caucus. I would say that the timing could not be better. Over the next decade, there will be 100,000 more Albertans at post-secondary age, the largest group ever in the history of Alberta. We must give these young Albertans, our future leaders, opportunities to be here, to learn here, or they could potentially leave. This downtown campus here in the city of Calgary will be full of opportunities. Research has been conducted to indicate that downtown post-secondaries campuses spur on average the creation of 71% more startup companies and to lead to the creation of 123% more inventions, producing 80% more licensing deals when compared with campuses located outside the core. The good news is that we're already starting from a position of strength here in Calgary. The University of Calgary is a top startup creator amongst the research institutions in Canada, and I dare say around the world. We can leverage this strength and build on it to unlock the economic potential of our post-secondaries. At the same time, converting empty office space to bring students, faculty, and researchers downtown will lower the vacancy rate, support nighttime activity, and restore vibrancy to downtown Calgary. There is so much potential here, and yet this UCP government so far has been missing in action. A meager $5 million commitment for downtown revitalization was called a slap in the face. A report that they commissioned on this critical work continues just to collect dust. There are massive opportunities here that Alberta's New Democrats and the City of Calgary will not let slip by. Furthermore, we will look actively to restore hundreds of millions of dollars in post-secondary funding cut from the existing schools by this UCP government. We know that post-secondary is an economic driver, and we will be willing partners. We will invest in Alberta's future. Thank you so much. I'm happy to take some questions. Good.
Noah Adler here from St. Radio Television Broadcast News program. So I understand that there was an issue for accommodations for students that were requiring housing. Will the campus also provide housing if you guys were to go into power and if it were to get built?
Yes, I think it's an important part of building campuses downtown here. We know that there's a 30% occupancy rate right now in the towers, and you can not only have university faculties here with classrooms and so forth, but housing as well. Affordable housing, I think, is a first priority, and there's lots of innovative ways by which you can convert office
Maybe I
buildings.
just supplement that and say that student housing absolutely is a part of a revitalized downtown Calgary. The post-secondaries that will be downtown will attract students, and they'll want to be near their campus. So absolutely, we've seen some of these buildings already refurbished into housing, whether that's social supportive housing, whether that's a new one on the West End is going to be market-based housing. So it's totally doable. There's lots of empty office space that can be converted for that purpose.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, thanks for taking my question. Just for a little clarity here, are you talking one campus for multiple different post-secondary institutions, or are you talking about multiple campuses? Because I know there's oftentimes some working together, but it's you've reached out to basically every, well, it sounds like every post-secondary institution in Southern Alberta. Sure. Are you expecting them all, if they all jump in, to share one campus?
You know, I'll turn it over to David in a second, but you're right. We did send a letter to the president and CEOs of 9 post-secondaries, Olds, Lethbridge, as well as all those in Calgary, with the view that they could come forward with proposals. And we would work with them. We would talk with them about what those proposals would be. So I'll turn it over to David, but really, you know, collaborating is the way of the future. We'll see what comes forward in the proposals. David, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just that there's a lot of enthusiasm with colleges, polytechnics, and universities, not just here in Calgary, but throughout the region, to participate in a revitalization project here downtown. So we want to keep it organic. There's lots of different ways by which we can do it. Some of these schools already have a presence in downtown Calgary. Of course, Blue Valley College situated here. University of Lethbridge is here, University of Calgary, and many others are very enthusiastic about participating in this initiative. So we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, I got a couple follow-ups. You mentioned the core report that was put together by the UCP government earlier this year, completed earlier this year. How does this plan differ from that? You also kind of hit on the government for not putting money behind it. What kind of a budget or dollars would the NDP be looking at putting behind this project or committing to it?
Well, you know, our report that we released in April talked about matching the City of Calgary's $100 million for downtown office conversion. That's the first thing. Secondarily, we would, as a result of putting this letter out to the 9 heads of universities and colleges, we would see what proposals came forward. And the whole thing about downtown Calgary is we've got empty office buildings that can be repurposed for other uses a lot quicker than new capital, new build can take place. So we don't know what the rest of the costs would be, but we have already matched the $100 million that the City of Calgary, were we to be successful in May, would be putting in for office conversions and student housing and revitalizing downtown. Dave, do you want to add?
Yeah, just that we will need to build tens of thousands of new spaces for the next generation of post-secondary students. We know that there's at least 50,000 students in the next few years that will need spaces, and so you need to spend that money anyway. And what a better way, at least in parts, to repurpose some of these downtown buildings to meet that need. I think we all know that a dollar invested in post-secondary will pay exponential returns as well.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a little bit unorthodox for an opposition party to put a proposal forward like this. Even an election is 4-5 months down the road. I know universities and post-secondary institutions are pretty busy. I guess, how much time are you expecting universities to put towards a proposal when there is really no guarantee what party is going to come through in the election this spring?
You know, the universities and post-secs generally are, many of them are at a breaking point already. They're turning away students who would like to study at their institutions. So they're interested in developing more space for learners. The proposals that we've asked them to come forward with can be done, I think, quickly, expeditiously. But the point is that they need space, and this UCP government has shown a disdain for post-secondary, not given post-secondary the necessary monies to address all the needs of learners and their own capital. So this is a way of trying to say to them, we're listening, we see you, we want to work with you in the future, and we're already on record to say we're going to support revitalization of downtown Calgary with the City of Calgary's plan. We'll support it with our plan, and we believe that post-secondaries are an important part of that, as well as accommodations for students. Dave, do you want to supplement? No? Okay.
Talk about Calgary's downtown revitalization. Would there be a similar plan for Edmonton's downtown when it comes to education moving downtown?
Yeah, you know, David's more familiar with Edmonton.
Sure.
I'll just turn it over.
No, absolutely. And I was in the meetings with all of the university presidents here last month, and we talked about this project, lots of enthusiasm. And then, of course, for Edmonton as well. We have Norquest College and Grant MacEwan in the downtown core. They're very interested in expanding not just their programming and physical plants, but for housing and so forth as well. We need capacity all around this province for post-secondary in Alberta. For example, I know when we were in government, we built more than 200 schools, and those schools are full. And sure enough, those same students will need post-secondary spaces now and the immediate future. So all hands on deck, revitalizing downtown Calgary, Edmonton, other cities across the province. We know that an investment in post-secondary will pay an exponential return.
Any other questions, Josh?
No, that's all.
Thank you, Josh.
And seeing no other questions, that's all for today.
Thank you,
All right.
folks.
Thank you.
All right, let's get it.
Thanks so much for watching, and to learn more, check out Alberta's Future.